Hello everyone, welcome back to YouTube channel Duval Mafia here, and before I get into this video, I just want to preface this by saying thank you for listening right now, and I hope everybody had an amazing holidays. Hope everybody, whether you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever, I hope you had an amazing holiday. I also hope everybody had an amazing new year, and Happy New Year. It is now 2022, on to bigger and better things for myself, for you guys, and hopefully for the Jaguars, of course. And I just want to say thank you, and I'm sorry that I did not upload over the past roughly 10 days. I was busy with family, busy with IRL stuff, and trying to enjoy my holidays a little bit. I know I said I was going to be uploading a little bit more on here, but that was a quick hiatus just for me to enjoy a little bit of time. But now we're back into the swing of things, and my first topic for today is going to be talking about the Jaguars Twitter account. So to talk about this quickly, the Jacksonville Jaguars Twitter account is now being seemingly raided by a bunch of Jaguars fans with clown emoji profile pictures which have mustaches similar to Shad Khan's, and the hashtags FireBalky, ClownOut, and Duval are all trending all over Twitter right now. So the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base on Twitter is definitely flexing their muscle right now, and it's kind of funny to see because it's to the point where there are other fan bases, and there's even reporters talking about it, saying that the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base is quite literally standing up to an entire NFL franchise. And it's just such an insane concept to think about, because it's never really happened before. There's never been a time where fans have stood up to a NFL franchise quite the way that Jaguars fans right now. And many reporters are saying that you clearly do not want to mess with Jaguars fans, which is extremely true, because we've been through so much already, and this is just one fan base you don't want to piss off. They don't have much patience, and they don't have much to lose at this point with how bad the Jaguars have been. But I just want to quickly talk about that, and I found it very funny, honestly. I'm starting to get into it a little bit. Starting to use my Twitter a little bit more, and I just want to say, if anybody's on Twitter, definitely hop on that, definitely get involved in that. And on to the next real topic. I'm going to be talking about the situation with FireBalky and what Shad Khan should do, in my honest opinion. So, my honest opinion, Shad Khan should fire him, whether it is at the end of the season or this weekend or whenever. I just truly believe that FireBalky has to be gone at some point. There's already rumors of him being the GM shying away most of these coaches, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have a large list of coaches, yes, but if most of them get shied away, that doesn't make a good look for the Jaguars, because that means the Jaguars are not getting the guy that they're looking at, the guy that they want. And I want the Jaguars to get the guy they want that will help develop Trevor Lawrence and help turn this team around as fast as possible, because even though it's not going to happen overnight, if you have a GM that's chasing away staff members and chasing away head coaching candidates, it's a very bad look for the team overall. It's a very bad look for Shad Khan. It's a very bad look for the franchise as a whole. And if Shad Khan doesn't realize this soon enough that FireBalky really needs to be gone if the fans are going to continue to act like this, which they should be. They have every right to act like this, in all honesty. But if they continue to act like this, Shad Khan needs to act on this and get rid of Balky, because the more you piss off these fans, the worse it's honestly going to get. You can't continue to piss off your fans. When you've had a team run this badly for this long, it's expected for the fan base to have very little patience. And if there's an experiment that's not working, or working as badly as the Urban Meyer FireBalky one has, you just have to act on it quickly. Now, I will admit I was a little bit hesitant to go for FireBalky's head, but seeing how adamant the entire fan base is on this, and seeing even many reporters how they even agree with this, shows me that FireBalky really doesn't have a good resume. And the fact that there's now reports coming out that head coaches, or potential head coaches, are shying away from the Jacksonville Jaguars because of FireBalky being the GM is just about all I needed to hear on the subject. And I really don't feel like it's fair for the Jaguars fans that have to deal with this. I really just think FireBalky should be gone, and a new GM, new head coach, fresh start should happen once again. I know it's only been one season, but obviously this experiment between Urban Meyer and FireBalky, going for those names that have been around in the past and all that, didn't work. We gave Urban Meyer a chance, and obviously that didn't go well, as he's not even on the team anymore as a head coach. And FireBalky was given a decent chance, and some of his picks have looked okay, like Tyson Campbell's playing pretty well. Trevor Lawrence, of course, was a giving pick. But he has picks like Travis Etienne, who, even though he did get injured, that's a top 25 selection that we've gotten absolutely no production out of this year. And For Walker Little, even though I still love the Walker Little pick, I think he's going to be good. In year one, it really hasn't looked like too good of a pick, even though it was a long-term pick. And I like Walker Little as a player. I think the next resume will get lucky and Walker Little will develop into a starting lineman at some point. But as of right now, it does make Trent Baalke look bad. And then Cisco looked good in the one game that he started last week. And that brings even more questions as to why he wasn't playing more earlier on in the season. I mean, it doesn't really make much sense. But so to move on to the next topic, I'm going to quickly list off a small list of the many head coach candidates that the Jaguars have at this current time. So the list goes as Bucs defensive coordinator Todd Bowles, former head coach of the Lions Jim Caldwell, Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, Packers offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, who many Jaguars fans will be familiar with, Bucs offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, another one Jaguars fans are familiar with, former head coach Doug Peterson, Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, and then Cowboys defensive coach Dan Quinn. So for a quick rundown on this, because I'm not going to be talking about this too much in today's video, but a quick rundown on this list for me: Todd Bowles, no. Jim Caldwell, maybe. Eberflus, maybe. Hackett, maybe. Leftwich, yes. Kellen Moore, yes. Doug Peterson, maybe. Dan Quinn, no. That's my opinions on each one of these, short and sweet. I may get more in-depth to it when it comes to a closer time that we're adamantly looking for a head coach, or even if we do sign a head coach, I will obviously go in-depth on them. But I'm not going to talk about that subject much more today. So to move on to the final topic of today's video, with the Jaguars losing to the Jets and they fall to 2-13 on the season, they move one step closer to securing the number one overall pick, and the only real competition with them now for the number one overall pick is the Detroit Lions. And the Detroit Lions, with a win, would pretty much secure the Jaguars with the number one overall pick. If the Jaguars lose out the last two games, which they play the Patriots and the Colts, which is a good chance of losing out, they automatically have the number one overall pick. But if the Jaguars win one and lose one, so they split for the end of the year, and the Lions lose out, the Lions actually jump them by half a game. But if the Lions win one game out of the last two, the Jaguars are essentially guaranteed, unless they win both games, which I can't see that happening. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I don't see that happening. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And so this means that the Jaguars will pretty much have their pickings of Hutchinson, Thibodeau, and Neal. And I do see a little bit of traction of Evan Neal gaining traction if the Jaguars pick number 2 to take him over Hutchinson or Thibodeau. And even a little bit of number 1, believe it or not. Now, do I personally agree with this? I'm not too sure. I do agree with the idea of protecting Trevor Lawrence, as he is the cornerstone of this franchise right now. I mean, he's the piece that's in place. He's the piece that will really turn this team around. And I do adamantly agree with this. Like, I do agree that we need offensive line, but I don't know if passing on Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau for Evan Neal is the real play. I mean, something against Evan Neal. He's going to be a blue chip prospect. Like, he's going to be a top 5 pick most likely, unless he has a very bad pro day or something happens between now and draft day. But I mean, Evan Neal, most people that I've talked to, or most people that I've seen talk about Evan Neal, say that he is a very good prospect. And he's going to be a very solid tackle, most likely left tackle at the NFL level. He's got the size, he's got the athleticism, and he's got the footwork that you really expect from a big guy like that at the left tackle position. And you expect to protect your franchise quarterback, which in this case would be Trevor Lawrence. And I wouldn't be mad if they, per se, took Evan Neal and they came out and said, you know what, our number one priority is to protect Trevor Lawrence, and this is what we're going to do. I wouldn't be mad, but I do believe that they would be passing on better prospects than Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau. And I can honestly make an argument that defensive line is just as important as offensive line for the Jaguars right now. Because with Josh Allen out, this defensive line is absolutely pitiful. And you can't rely your defensive line and its entire production on one player. That's just not a realistic thing. You're not going to build a successful defense with that. Getting pressure on the quarterback is one of the most important things in football as a defensive-minded person. And honestly, Kayvon Thibodeau, I've already said is my guy. Aiden Hutchinson, I'd be happy with him as well, even though I think he fits better in a 4-3. The Jaguars would probably have to switch to 4-3 to make him most comfortable. And Evan Neal wouldn't be a bad pick, But I've already said it before, I just don't see taking Evan Neal over those two guys if you have them available. I think this comes down to a sheer value standpoint. I mean, if you got a guy like Hutchinson or Thibodeau who can get to the quarterback, stop the run, and disrupt game plans for opposing offenses, it's a no-brainer to take it. Now, I'm not opposed to protecting Trevor Lawrence, but again, I feel like you can either A, try re-signing Cam Robinson because he's played decent this year, B, let Walker Little have a chance, sign somebody in free agency, even draft somebody in the second or third round and see what you can find. I just don't know if I agree with taking a offensive tackle number 3 overall, or top 3 I should say. I don't see it. I don't like that idea, and I really don't agree with it. Now, am I saying I'd be mad with it? No. As long as we get one of Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, or Evan Neal draft day, I'm not going to be too mad. They're all good prospects. They're all going to help this team improve. And I'm more worried about the later rounds, if I'm being completely honest with you. I want to see the Jaguars hit their second round pick, their third round pick, their fourth round pick. All those picks, I want to see those be hits for players like the Jeremy Chin, the Darius Leonards, those type of players who fall a little bit, and they fall into that second round, or even some of those guys who fall into the third round. Can't really think of any off the top of my head, truthfully, but I know there are a few out there, and I know multiple people will be able to name some of them. But those guys that are highly touted prospects that just fall for whatever reason, you got to jump on them. It's common sense. Now, am I mad with last year's picks? No. Tyson Campbell, Andre Cisco, Walker Little, decent picks. I actually like those picks. But I got to see this consistently happening in the later rounds, because that's the only way you're going to build this team into a successful team. And that's really the only way you're going to build a dynasty-type team. You can build a great team through free agency, I will agree to that, but any team you build through free agency is bound to fall apart within a couple years, while if you build it through the draft, you have a solid 5 to 7 year window, and maybe even more with Trevor Lawrence at the helm, of you being a very solid team if you can hit your draft picks. Now, I know it's easier said than done. It's easier to sit here and say, okay, hit your draft picks. I know it's a lot harder than that. But the Jaguars, at least, I want to see them at least hit starters with 50% of their first 3-round draft picks for the next couple years. That's a good margin to be at. I'm not expecting them to hit every single pick, but if you hit at least half of them or a little bit over half of them, I'm saying that you're drafting pretty well in my eyes. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video. So it's January 1st, 2022 as I'm recording this right now. I hope everyone is excited for 2022. I hope everybody has a great 2022, and I hope everything goes well for everybody. I hope everybody had a great holidays, and Happy New Year once again to everybody. And I love you guys. Thank you for support so much. I appreciate every single one of you, and as always, peace out, Duval.